This video is about variables, inputs, and expressions and their use in Python programming. What are variables? So, variable is an item which is used to store a value or set of values. And in Python, the way you assign the value, the syntax is in this way. The right hand side will have a value. There should be one assignment operator. And if you write like this, then the value on the right hand side will be assigned to the left hand side variable name. And for having a variable name, there are some guidelines or rules you need to follow. So the variable name must start with a letter or underscore, can contain letters, underscores, numbers, and should be descriptive. Okay, and there are also keywords in Python programming. Keywords are something, those meanings are already been explained to the Python compiler. And any word which is a keyword, that name you must not use as a variable name. It's not allowed in Python programming. So let's check this syntax. Here x equal to 4 and type of x. When I run the code, see here, what does x contain? It's 4, which is a numeric type or number type. So here for number type, um, we have two different types, integer type, float type. So integer type, it basically contains the whole number, and float type contains any decimal number which has a decimal part. So 4 is here one integer type. So when you want to know the type of the variable x, then this is the way you have to write. So that's why it's returning int here. And the next statement, when I run the code, as 4.4 is not a whole number, it's a float number, that's why the type is returned as float. Let's run this one. So welcome is a variable and hello is the value assigned to welcome. So when you print it, actually hello is nothing but a word which is a set of characters. So in Python programming, we call it as a string. So the variable welcome contains a string hello. That's why the type is printed as str for string. The short form for string is str. And the next cell I'm going to run it. So when I run it, it says words is a variable which contains two words as a list. So this is the syntax of a list. So when you type the words type, so it will return a list. So no, it is possible to override the reserved words, but do not do this. It's not allowed, so do not ever do that. So you will get into a lot of errors then. So see, print statement is mostly used for printing something, printing a text, right? So let me run the code. What happens then? So what happens if we assign the value of 4 to the variable print? When you print it, it displays 4. So see, um, usually to print something, how do you write? Like this, correct? So see, just writing print, you are printing the value of variable 4, but it's kind of ambiguous, so don't ever use this, because print is a reserved word or keyword whose meaning is already explained, and it's meant for a specific purpose. So, and it has to be used with print statements only. So don't use the keywords as the name of the variables. Next, let's say I want to print hello. Okay. So see, the print we have used as a variable, right? So see, the print, the type of print is here what? As it contains 4, it's now the return type is integer. So now using that, you are trying to print. So print with, here the print word will not act as a variable, rather it will act as a int object. So that's why it's showing this error, the type error. That's why it's saying a int object is not callable. So this is not correct. Don't ever do that. Use a descriptive name for any variable rather than using the keyword names. Now let's do this. So here see, the variable can be deleted using the del function. So here I have used the del function with having the print value in it. So in this code, we will only delete the print if it is an integer. So this is type of a conditional expression I'm trying to write here. So if here, as we know, print is already having an integer value, so the type of print is int. So if the type of print which is int is equals to int, so the condition is true, then delete the print. So the print object will be deleted. So it's now gone. Okay, it's deleted. So now if you try to print it, it will print the hello. Now it's not giving us this error, type error here. Understood? Now the variable references a location in memory where its value is stored. The id function here, it can be used to get the value of an object's identity. So identity is nothing but a number. You can say an address of a variable, which is guaranteed to be unique for each object's memory id. So let's do this. So x equals to 4 and printing the id value of x. So this is one unique number assigned to x variable. This is, you can say, this is the address of variable x. Let's see for y. It shows a different numeric value or id value for y. Let's do this for z. So z equal to 4. So if you try to print the id value of x, it prints this one. Compare this. If you print the id value of z, it gives the another id value of z, which is not equals to y or x. So each variable, when it's created, it's automatically assigned one id value. So if you increment z, see what happens. So x has a value, the id value of x is returned as this value, and here see we have changed the value of z, incremented it by 1, z plus 1. So what happens now? Is it going to show us this id value or different? Now it's a different value. Okay, the value of the variables is now changed, so it will give us a different id value. User input. So let's say you want to input some value from the console. So how to do it? Using the input function. So let me run the code. So now it says this text, and then it says enter any number. I will enter 5. When I hit enter, there is a print statement after this. So that's why it's printing x is of type. And what is the type of x? The type of x is equal to, actually when you mention just input, it takes automatically a string. If you want to do it as int, you have to change this expression again. Now let's print the value of x. It's 5, x plus 5. See, here actually the 5 is not a number, as I told you, it's a character. Okay, so that's why the character value cannot be incremented. It's not possible. Character or the string value. That's why it's giving this type error here. Let's come to typecasting now. So typecasting is something in which you convert one type of variable to another type. So int x converts the variable x to an int, float x converts the variable x to float, and string x converts the variable x to string. So let's see what happens here. So x is of, I mean whatever is the value of x that is your 5, which is a string type, it is now converted to int type. So when you do this x plus 5, it gives you 10 rather than giving this type error. Now let's run this. Input a number. So any number that you enter here, it becomes int type by having this int function enclosed. Okay. So now when I enter, it's now giving the type of x as plus int. Okay. So now do this exercise. Read this description and try to write your code here by using all the concepts that we have covered so far. Now, arithmetic expressions. So for doing arithmetic operations, we have multiple operators and some expressions to learn. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, integer division, exponentiation, and modulo. So let me run the code to compare. So 3 multiplied by 4 is equal to 3 multiplied by 4. So what does it do? It gives us 12. So multiplication is done by this asterisk operator. So let's say you want to do some exponentiation, or you want to find the power of a number. So 2 to the third power, that is 2 to the power 3, is equals to, you need to use the double asterisk, and that will give you 2 to the power 3 is equals to 8. Like that, for division, you have this single forward slash, and it gives you the accurate division value. And let's say you want to find out the um, lower format of this number. I mean, you want to discard all the decimal parts. So for that, you need to use double forward slash, and this will give you 1 rather than giving this whole decimal number. And let's say you want to find the remainder of the division 5 divided by 3, you need to use the modular division, and it will give you the output as 2. So see here, for this statement, 125 minutes is equal to what value? So here we have the lower division operator and the remainder. So that's why it's giving us the lower division output and the remainder division output. So using this concept, try to do this exercise. Prompt the user to enter an amount of time in minutes and output the number of hours and minutes. So for example, if user enters 125, your output should be number of hours as 2 and number of minutes as 5. So try to write down the code here and solve it. Once you write the code, you just click on run to see the output. Now there is a standard order of operations that Python follows. Okay, and this is the short form to remember is PEMDAS. So P for parenthesis, E for exponents, M for multiplication, D for division, and they have same preference, and it's done from left to right. The order. Addition subtraction has same preference, and the operation is done. The order of operation is from left to right. So see, when you evaluate this, how is it evaluated? In the starting, multiplication has highest ordering. So as per standard, this one is evaluated first. Then addition subtraction has similar type of order of operation. So first, that result from 3 multiplied by 2, 6, is to be added with 5. Okay, so it becomes 11, then the subtraction is done and the output is found out to be 10. So that's all in the variables and expressions.